Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for tuning in to the Sleeper Dolphins YouTube channel. I am your host, Michael Leva, here on this Thursday, July the 30th. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. His training camp is underway. And we finally have some football on the field to discuss. Plus, there's just so much Miami Dolphins news out there right now. We have a lot to talk about there. But first, as always, please be sure if you're on Twitter or X to be following us at Sleeper Miami. And if you're watching this, which clearly you are, here at the Sleeper Dolphins YouTube channel, do me a favor, smash that like button and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. All right. So the Miami Dolphins have had 2 practices this week. I will get to recaps of that here in a moment. But they've also this week worked out so many players. And they're kicking the tires on a lot. Now, I did a show Monday where I talked about Miami signing edge rusher Clelin Ferrell. And he had his first full practice today on Thursday with the Dolphins. Actually practiced pretty well from all the reports from the people on site. So good news there. But they have worked out a bunch of players this week since they did that show Monday. So let's get to it. First, they had a workout with quarterback Jack Plummer. He was the UFL MVP this past year. He passed a physical. He had a solid workout, but Miami didn't sign him. And Mike Garafolo, an NFL insider for ESPN, said Plummer could be in play for Miami at some point down the line. Let me explain to you what that means. That means now we've had 2 practices, and about some point next week, the Miami Dolphins are going to look at their quarterback room. Willis and Quinn Ewers aren't going nowhere, but behind them, you got Cam Miller and Mark Gronkowski. If Cam Miller or Mark Gronkowski are not playing well, expect the Dolphins to release one and then pick up the phone and call the plumber and call Jack Plummer and possibly bring him in to compete for that 3rd quarterback spot. So Mike Garafolo of ESPN's like, well, they haven't signed him yet, but they're interested in him, meaning they want to give Cam Miller and Mark Gronkowski a little bit of a runway here to see what they do in these first week or so of practices. So that's just something to keep an eye on, keep in the back of your head. The Miami Dolphins also worked out a running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Everyone remembers him. He was a first-round pick, I want to say 2020 or maybe 2019. I can't remember off the top of my head. And he had a bunch of good years with the Kansas City Chiefs. Unfortunately, though, we're in 2026, and he has not played much of late. In 2024, he only played in 2 games and only carried the ball 13 times. Last season, 2025, he only played in 2 games and only had 7 carries. So he hasn't had much work. I didn't hear if the workout went well or not, but he did get a workout with the Dolphins. Here's the thing. Everyone looks at that Miami Dolphins running back room and says, they're loaded. They got a lot of players. And they do. Obviously, Achane just got a big money deal to stay. Jalen Wright came on at the end of last year. Ollie Gordon showed flashes of time last year. Those are your 1, 2, 3s, and no one's going to crack that 1, 2, 3. But don't forget that the Miami Dolphins signed an undrafted free agent after the draft, Le'Veon Moss out of Texas A&M. And he was here for a few weeks. Then he just retired out of the blue. And they were really, really high on him. And they thought he could have been running back 4 and possibly make this team. Obviously, that's not the case. And he's not. You also have some other running backs on this team in Donovan Edwards and Carlos Washington. Carlos Washington's a guy to keep an eye on. I think right now he's got the inside track. I know it's only a couple practices, but just looking at their full body of work and sort of who they are and what they bring to the table, he's probably got the strongest chance to be that RB4 in Miami and get that role. So, but, you need competition. Or what happens if, here's what's going to happen. They've only had 2 practices. Thank God no one's been hurt. In a week or so, you're going to have a guy or 2 get hurt. And if it's a running back, you don't want to sit there then have tryouts, because that's just wasted time and wasted days. So let's work out this guy now. And if it's all good, great. If we need him, we know he's 1 quick phone call away. So I think that's kind of with a lot of these workouts, that's kind of what it is. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire, not the same player he once was, though did get a workout this week with the Dolphins. Another workout, which I actually kind of hope they sign this guy. They worked out wide receiver Elijah Badger, who went to the University of Florida in 2025. He was then signed by the Chiefs after the draft. He was with the Chiefs all last year in training camp. Final cuts, he got released. This past year, though, he played in the UFL with the Orlando Storm. 36 receptions, 5 touchdowns, 588 yards. Look, I don't watch the UFL, but I know a few people who actually do watch it a lot, and I spoke to them. They're like, no, he's really good. And with Miami's wide receiver room, kind of not that good. I can understand why Miami's working him out. They haven't signed him yet. But again, if one of these wide receivers gets hurt, if one of these wide receivers isn't looking good, I think they're going to be picking up the phone to Elijah Badger real quick if another team doesn't grab him before we get the opportunity to. So there's that there. A lot of workouts. I think that's going to continue. Jeff Halfley at one of the media sessions this week said that Storm Duck and Darrell Baker Jr. are going to be out for a while. He thinks they'll return to the field at some point this season. But when you're in July and you're saying some point this season, you might be looking like November-ish or like even later, not anytime soon. So I wouldn't be shocked if word starts to leak in the next few days. They start working out either a corner or a safety, just another body for the secondary. Because losing those two guys for a big chunk of the season and a weak secondary already, you probably want to be ready there at that position in case you do need to add a body. So I wouldn't be shocked if they do something in a secondary with that too in the next few days. We'll see. I think they want to give the guys on the roster every chance, but they know this roster is very young. It's either very young with guys who are first-year players, second-year players, or undrafted players, or it's old with guys who are, vet minimums on one-year deals who really aren't that good. So there might be some turnover here. You want to give them a few practices. You want to give them a few practices and pads too, which won't happen until next week. And then you can say, okay, well, we're a little weak here. This one or two guys ain't working out or ain't looking good at least. Let's see if we can sort of turn over the bottom of the roster, maybe bring someone else in who might have a little bit of a higher upside and an actual chance to make the team. So that's why I think they're working out a lot of guys. I think that's why they'll continue to work out a lot of guys. So I expect more news like this through the weekend and the next week as well. Practice. The Miami Dolphins have had 2 practices. And through 2 practices, and this is not a shock and it's nothing to be panicked about, the defense is ahead of the offense. Through 2 practices, Miami's offense has struggled. On Thursday, today, they struggled mightily. Again, wouldn't panic about it because, offense is more about timing, getting everyone on the same page, getting someone on the same cadence, and then it's just repetition. It's almost like a routine, kind of like a choreographed number of some sort, because that's what the offense is. Ain't that way on the other side of the ball in defense. A lot of it's see ball, hit ball. It's a little bit quicker to get on the same page. It's a little bit quicker to blow up an offense that's really, hasn't played together much. And you can't count OTAs and mini camps because that's just not real football. So I really, really think it's going to take a few weeks here for the offense to get going. So I wouldn't panic about it. But through 2 practices, they are sort of struggling. Today, on Thursday, they had a bunch of false starts. And they had I think 6 or 7 penalties that were called for either lining up wrong, illegal formation, false starts type stuff. Willis on Wednesday, from the reports, played okay. He didn't turn it over. He didn't make any bad choices throwing the football. He didn't sort of force anything. He didn't, try to be risky with anything. Today on Thursday was not a good day for Malik Willis. Just keeping it a buck, keeping it honest here. It was not a good day for Malik Willis. He struggled a bit, and overall the offense struggled. Today on Thursday, they had 2 lost fumbles and 2 interceptions as an offense overall. I got some notes, and again, with training camp notes, always take them with a grain of salt. Again, so Wednesday and Thursday, those practices were not open to the public. So you got to take that into account first and foremost. And you're going off people who are there, and 2 people can watch the same play and view it totally differently. One guy can say, great play by the offense. Then you can have someone else say, well, that guy stunk on defense. Of course he made the play. So take it with a grain of salt. But here we go. So Cleveland Farrell had his first full practice as a member of the Dolphins. Like I said, Tutu Atwell, the wide receiver, from all the people there, they say he's the fastest wide receiver on the team. He's got that type of speed, but he dropped a lot of passes today. And one of the passes that he dropped went off his hand, went off his fingertips, and was intercepted by Zane Anderson, the safety brought over from the Green Bay Packers. Rookie cornerback Chris Johnson, he forced and recovered a fumble on the same play from running back Ollie Gordon. Chris Johnson, through 2 days, is playing really well. Edge rusher Cameron Good, he had a sack on since you can't touch a quarterback, it would have been a sack if it was a real game and a real play. Willis hit Malik Washington for a short pass. Austin Jackson had a false start on the day. Wide receiver Terrace Marshall caught a pass for about 13 yards. One of the standouts, again, it's only 2 days. You take it all with a grain of salt through 2 days of practice, has been edge rusher David Ajabo. On what day was on Wednesday? He forced a fumble, I believe, and today he was in the backfield a lot, getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. The guy who probably had the best practice today on Thursday from everyone who was there was Chop Robinson. Chop Robinson, I guess, he had 2 would-be sacks if it was a real game, and I guess he was in the backfield a lot. He was just, eating up the offensive tackles. Chop Robinson was destroying it. So nice to see Chop. It's a big year for Chop. I mean, he's our best pass rusher. And we have literally nobody else, really. So we're going to need a big year from Chop. Again, still July, but good to see him have a strong day. Another guy who's had 2 strong practices so far is rookie safety Michael Taft from Texas. Yesterday he had an interception. Today he broke up a pass from Jalen Rieger. And he also had another pass that should have been an interception that he just happened to drop. But he's been around everything. He's going to be someone I'm really going to want to see once they put the pads on. Because coming in, he's a bit on the smaller side for a safety. And when you're not in pads and it's not like real games, real contact, it's a little bit different when you put on the pads and there's real hit. And I want to see how Michael Taft does because, look, safety is a huge weakness for this team. And from all the reports of this kid at Texas, he was a walk-on. Then he worked his way up. I think he was like second team SEC player of the year or something. He became a team captain at the University of Texas. He's one of those guys, first one to show up, last one to leave, and will lock himself into a film room until God knows what time into the night, just watching tape, trying to get better. Golden opportunity for him, maybe not to start, but to get playing time at least this year. So Michael Taft has had a good first 2 days of practice. Edge rusher Josh Uche stopped running back Jalen Wright pretty much near the line of scrimmage on a play. Lonnie Johnson broke up a pass. Seth Coleman had a would-be sack of Cam Miller. Ollie Gordon ran left for a short gain. Terrace Marshall had a nice few catches. He had one for 10 yards, I think one for like 13 yards as well. So he's been making a couple plays here. Wide receiver AJ Henning had a reception for like 10 yards and a first down. Malik Washington dropped a pass from Malik Willis. So there's that. So again, it's early practices in July. You don't read too much into it, but so far for the offense, and I'm sure each day they're going to get a little bit better. So there's that. But right now for the defense, a good start. And also Jacob Rodriguez. I know on Wednesday, the first practice, he had a couple pass breakups. And from the people that were there today, he said, I think he had 1 or 2 as well today, but he's just like in coverage. He is just like so good. So good. So a lot of good news and a lot of good things coming about Jacob Rodriguez as well. Also on Wednesday, the rookie Kevin Coleman Jr., him and the rookie tight end Sador Taori both had 3 receptions, and I guess Kevin Coleman was really like putting on a show, I guess, for as much as you can on the first practice again. So yeah, those are some of the highlights. Those are some of the names of guys who are playing well. And we'll keep an eye on this moving forward here in the coming days as they really get into, once the pads go on, that's football, baby. That's football at the end of the day. When you get pads on and they start hitting stuff. And Hafley said they're actually going to tackle in a few of the practices this year, something that, never happened with Mike McDaniel. Good Lord, that never happened then. So, yeah, that's it. So that's all for today's show. Again, thank you for watching us here at the Sleeper Dolphins YouTube channel. Please be sure to like and subscribe, spread the word, and also on Twitter or X, follow us at Sleeper Miami. Everyone have a great Thursday, and we'll talk to you again after a while.